kids, when you married Nora, how old were Bobby and Betty?
Do what?
When you married Nora, how old were her kids, Betty and Bobby? How old were her kids when you married her?
They were just like everybody else.
Well, how old were they? Were they 5 or 6?
No, there were 8 and 9, I think.
8 and 9. And then so here I'm going to ask you something about the past. When Joe Becker married your mother, how old were you? Do you remember?
Around 9 or 10.
So that would have been, Al would have been about 12 or 13. Is that right? And you always called him Pop or Dad? Yeah.
Pop.
Pop. Yeah, that's what I remember. Grandpa Al, my grandpa always called Joe Pop. Hey, Pop. Huh. All right, because we're in contact with Sandra Turpin, who is John Hasenjaeger's granddaughter. And she's down in Atlanta. And Sandra and her sister Sarah live down there. They are... Oh, so your birth father was Albert Hasenjaeger, right? Did you ever know the Hasenjaegers?
Huh?
Do you remember the Hasenjaegers or not?
My grandfather and grandmother took me out of the orphan's home and raised me.
Yeah, so they raised you at their house until you were 10? Or
No,
9 or 10?
it was around 8 or something.
8? Okay. So Bertie couldn't take care of you?
She had to work.
She had to work. Yeah, I know. She had the job at Famous Bar? Or where did she work?
I don't remember where she worked.
We always thought it was Famous Bar. Maybe it was Sticks, Bear, and Fuller. I don't know. They thought that she worked retail, selling clothing. That's what Irma thought. I don't know.
I don't know.
But what do you mean that your grandparents Hasenjaeger took you out of the orphanage? You were living in an orphanage? You were? Oh my gosh.
My brother had to go to school, so he never come back from school.
Albert, my grandfather, he went to school?
Yeah.
Oh, where did he go to school?
I think he went to the Ashland school, but he just never come back. He'd go to my grandmother after school.
And you would be at the orphanage?
I didn't stay there long. My grandmother and grandfather took me out of there.
Oh, good. Okay. What were their names?
Huh?
What were your grandmother and grandfather's names, first name?
Hasenjaeger.
No, but the first name. Do you remember their first name?
Emma, I think, was her grandmother's name.
Emma?
Fred was
Fred.
Grandfather.
Fred and Emma. Okay. Okay, yeah, because we were trying to find where they're buried. Do you know where
They're in a Bethlehem cemetery, I think.
Bethlehem. Okay. Is that one off Natural Bridge? I don't know. Irma was trying to remember, because I think they were United Church of Christ, and I think Bethlehem was the United Church of Christ.
No, they were.
They weren't?
They weren't for Church of Christ. They were.
What were they? Were they Lutheran? Evangelical? Were they evangelical?
Huh?
Were they evangelical? What was that called? Evangelical Reformed? No. Well, I just wondered their names. So it was John and Emma, and then their kids were Albert, who was your father, and then how many other children? John.
John was one of the sons.
So John, and then your father was Albert.
Yeah.
And then what other sons did they have?
They had Ben.
Ben.
And
they had a girl. They had a daughter that was younger.
Florence was a daughter.
Florence. And then there was another boy. So there was Ben, John, Albert. And I thought Albert was the oldest. Was your dad the oldest?
I think he might have been.
Yeah. And then who started the jewelry store? Was that
He was eating. He laid his sandwich down and got some acid and ate his stomach out.
Did it really? That's how he died? Ooh, I didn't know that. We heard he had ptomaine poisoning. Is that ptomaine when you have that happen? Ptomaine? Okay. In the old days, people would can everything, and we thought maybe it was something that got canned and it was spoiled. but you say it was because of his sandwich at the jewelry store.
He was a jeweler, and he was working.
Right.
And he ate his lunch and
On the bench there, yeah.
bench and laid it down and got some acid out of it, ate his stomach out.
And they made jewelry, or what did they do? What was their business?
Did what?
Did they actually make unique jewelry, or what did they do at their jewelry store? Did they just fix watches or?
They polished rings and stuff up. I don't know what they all. He was learning to be an eye doctor.
Oh, really?
I had some of the books for his eye doctor.
Really? So he wanted to be an eye. Well, you know, John became.
He was going to be the eye doctor for the.
For the family, for everybody. Well, John became a chiropractor because
Yeah.
I heard that Joe Becker made some cabinets for John Hasenjaeger, and John changed his name to John Jaeger because he took the Hasen part off of the name and just became John Jaeger.
I would.
Yeah, well, that's what Sandra down in Atlanta told us, that her grandfather changed his name to John Jaeger. And then, see, Sandra's mother is John's daughter. So I can't think of the other brother, though. There's Albert, John, Ben, and then a younger one, because there were 4 boys, and then 1 girl, Florence. And Florence married Kibby, so Florence and Kibby lived up in Iowa. I think Kibby, can't think of their last name.
I don't know if Kibby's still living or not.
Kippy or Kippy? Kibby. I think it's
Kibby.
Kibby, yeah, Kibby. Kippers? What was their last
He was a minister.
Oh, he was a minister. Okay. Well, I don't want
And they
to.
wanted to pay him off in food, and he says, you can't do that.
Oh, no.
So he went on his own.
Oh, really? That's interesting. Did you ever visit him up in Iowa? Did you ever?
His son and daughter, I think, Betty and Bob, I think are their names.
Oh, really?
They were still living.
Is that right? Okay. Well, I'll ask. I'll ask Sandra down in Atlanta if she knows.
But the son and daughter got mad because he went and married again, and they didn't think he should marry.
Yeah, well.
They didn't get along that way.
Yeah, you can't make everybody happy. Well, let's get you to breakfast, and I'll come back again sometime, and let's talk some more about the war.
Okay.